Hey everybody, I told you that I'd be doing some more videos in the future, and here you have it. Backpacking videos in particular. This weekend my dad and I are heading up to Chinnabee State Park in the Talladega National Forest in Alabama, and we're going to hike what's known as the Skyway loop. This is actually the loop that we were going to do. If you're a fan of this channel, you saw a prep hike video I did before the Appalachian Trail, and this is the loop we were going to hike, but then an ice storm hit, and we ended up having to get out of the woods after just a couple of miles. But it's been, I guess, about 6 weeks since I got off the AT. I haven't really been doing much, just been trying to rest up my foot and see how things go. So this will be a good test to for me to gauge where I'm at with things on the stress fracture in my right foot. So hopefully it's healed up pretty well, but I'll find out. This is going to be a 2-night overnight trip. It's a 17.1 mile loop, and today's Friday. We're driving up from Florida, and we're just going to do a couple of miles this afternoon. Then we're going to do the bulk of the trail tomorrow, and then just a couple of miles out on Sunday to give us plenty of time to get down to our favorite brewery down in Anniston, Alabama, the Chinnabee Brewing Company. This definitely isn't a trip that we're unfamiliar with. We're here pretty frequently for either hiking or mountain biking, or my dad does a lot of trail running, stuff like that. So the weather's supposed to be awesome. Perfect backpacking weather in my opinion this weekend. It's supposed to be highs in the 60s during the day, lows around 40 at night, maybe a little colder up in the mountains, but shouldn't be too far off of that because I don't think the elevation's any more than a couple thousand feet. But we will be really close to the highest point in Alabama, which is in Chinnabee State Park. But anyways, we're not too far from the trailhead, so I'll see you there. Alright, made it to the Adams Gap trailhead. This is where we're going to start our hike. Like I told you, it's a 17.1 mile loop. We're just going to hike in a couple of miles today because it's already starting to get dark. The sun's knocking out of the sky. And sunset right now, it's the 10th of November. So sunset here is, I think, 4:43 p.m. So we don't have much time. We spent most of our day driving up from Florida. But we're going to head up the trail, and I'll see you soon. Good morning, everybody. Survived our first night out here. I wasn't able to show you the camp spot last night because it was literally dark when we got here. But we were able to get set up and everything with our headlamp, so it was no big deal. There was absolutely no wind when we got here, but I would say at probably about 10 o'clock last night, the wind started whipping pretty hard. But temperature got down into the mid-30s. I was really comfortable in my my sleeping bag. I got my Z-Packs 20-degree sleeping bag. So that all worked out pretty good. Today we're going to do the bulk of the hike. We're only about 3 miles in from that Adams Gap trailhead I showed you, and we're doing this loop counterclockwise. So from that Adams Gap trailhead sign, you would go across the street over to where we started the trail, and that'll get you going counterclockwise. And we're going to pop out of the woods on the side of the road that the trucks park. So anyways, pretty excited, man. It really feels good to be back in the woods. It felt good to have a backpack back on, especially since I only have a couple of days worth of food for this trip, so it's not very heavy at all. So anyways, this is camp. We're all set up. I was set up behind us. It's my dad's set up there, and we're only probably, you look behind me there, probably about 100 yards from the trail. So we're down off the trail pretty good. And it's a nice spot, real nice and flat, and pretty soft ground. So anyways, I guess we're going to be doing some climbing right out of the gate this morning, and I'll be keeping you posted. Alright, I'm on what they call the Stairway to Heaven. It's actually a pretty steep part of the trail. However, there are a lot of switchbacks, but there are some steep little sections. It's hard to believe that this is in Alabama. Alright, I'm almost to the top. Check this out, it's really pretty up here. And there's the top, I believe. Alright, definitely made it to the top of the Stairway to Heaven. Really pretty views up here. And the trail's just right back there. Probably hard to see, but my trekking poles are leaned up against the trees sort of in the middle, but that's where the trail's at. Really pretty up here, man. I'm surprised. Wasn't expecting this for Alabama. Alright, made it to our first intersection. We were on the Pinhoti trail. You can see there where we came off of Adams Gap. But we are going to take the Chinnabee Silent Trail, which is off in this direction. Alright, so you'll notice when you start doing a little research on this trail that they say that there's a, I don't know, a creek crossing, river crossing. I don't know, it's definitely more of a creek. But yeah, it's nothing to worry about. There's rocks the whole way across it. It's a great water source too, so I'm going to stop here and get some water. Alright, we just crossed Alabama 281. That's the Turnip Seed Trailhead. This is the road that you travel in on. Down that away, farther south on 281 is where the Adams Gap Trailhead is, where we started. But just crossed the road. Alright, this is Chiaha Falls Shelter. Not far at all from Chiaha Falls, which we just passed. There's tons of people down there. Wasn't really much to it. It's kind of dry, but it's really pretty up here. Alright, we stopped here at the Chiaha Falls Shelter for lunch. I didn't eat my dinner last night. We stopped at a Publix grocery store on the way in and ended up grabbing a sandwich from the deli, and I had that for dinner. But so I'm going to eat what I was supposed to eat last night for dinner for lunch to drop some weight out of my bag. Got some Tyson grilled and ready chicken. Put a little bit of taco seasoning in it. I'm going to add some bacon bits to it. Put a cheese stick on it and put it in a flour tortilla. It's going to be delicious. check that out. It is, in fact, delicious. So, I'm about a half mile past where I just took lunch at the Chiaha Falls shelter, and I gotta say, I'm really enjoying this trail so far. It is a little bit crowded, but to be fair, it's the 11th of November, so it's Veterans Day, which is a holiday, and it's on the weekend. So there's a lot of people out here enjoying the outdoors, and I'm not surprised either because the temperature is just right for hiking, around 60 degrees at the heat of the day. It's about 1 o'clock right now, and that's about the temperature. It did get a little bit chilly last night. It was comfortable, you know, if you have the right sleeping bag, sleeping system. But, you know, getting out of the tent in the morning was a little chilly. But it was also windy, and the wind calmed down, and that made it better. And once I got moving, I was feeling pretty good. So, anyways, once you get up to the Chinnabee Silent Trail from the Pinhoti, I showed you the intersection earlier. It actually is kind of a steep downhill for about a mile. Normally it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but there's tons of leaves on the ground right now, and that makes it pretty slippery. So you got to be careful right now. But other than that, the terrain's just been kind of rolling, really enjoyable, with the exception of that first climb this morning right out of camp. It was pretty steep, but it wasn't too bad. Totally worth it though. There's some pretty cool views up there. But anyways, we're going to camp at a creek tonight. Don't know the name of it, but I'll let you know. And we're probably going to get there pretty early, but like I've already said, it gets dark at about, I want to say sunsets at around 4:45, so we need to get there pretty early. And we wanted to leave some mileage for tomorrow anyways, because the brewery's not going to open till at least lunchtime, so, you know, we'd rather be hiking than sitting in the truck. So anyways, I'll be talking to you soon. I don't know how well you can see it through the trees, but this is really cool. Bunch of cascades. Folks, this is camp for the night. Pretty nice. Got the creek, it's Hubbard Creek, right down through those trees. It's only probably about 20 yards maybe. Gonna get some water there and hang out for the evening. Hey everybody, coming to you from my tent. Gotta say, we got here at just the right time. The reason I say that is because not long after we got here, I had just got my water from the creek down there. It probably wasn't even 5-10 minutes later, a group of hikers came up behind us, and I counted there was 12 people, and that's a big group of people, which kind of brings me to what I want to talk about a little bit right now, and that's a little bit of trail etiquette's a thing, and I'll talk more about that for people that are beginning, because yeah, there's only one way to know about that, and that's to learn about that and for people to teach you. But yeah, there's also a camp etiquette, and part of that is hike in small groups. When I say small groups, 6 people should probably be your maximum group if you're going to be actually doing overnight backpacking. And part of the reason for that is because when you get to camp, especially by water sources where most people camp, when you've got 12 people, that's a lot of people to find places for them to tent. And that can be pretty inconvenient for everybody else. So that's something to keep in mind. Just try to break it up. 6 people, or even if you got 12 people, kind of figure it out. Start at 2 different trailheads, meet in the middle, whatever it is. But that's something to keep in mind. Luckily these people have been, not bad at all. I mean, they had to spread out, and I kind of feel sorry for the people that actually, like, just after we got here and I showed you our camp spot, some people had started tenting just over across the creek from us, and there's a nice little camp spot. And there's like 4 or 5 of them. It just looked like a family. I kind of feel bad for them because right next to them, there's like 6 or 7 tents that got set up over there, with this other group, and they just kind of wanted, to get out here. And a lot of us get out here to get away from big groups of people. If we wanted to be around big groups of people, we would go to the church potluck or whatever it is. We wouldn't come out in the backcountry. So, yeah, break up the groups. Luckily, this group's been pretty courteous. But the other thing is, when it comes to lighting, you don't, yeah, you got on Amazon.com and got yourself a 8 billion lumen flashlight and you want to show it off to your buddies. And flash it around. But the backcountry is not the place for that. Out here, just get yourself a nice, 200-300 lumen headlamp, and trust me, that's all you're going to need for a lot of backpacking. And the reason I even have to bring that up is because the group across there was just kind of, they had 2, not just 1, but 2 very bright flashlights, and they kept shining them over here, after it got dark. And they weren't doing it on purpose, don't get me wrong. And they didn't even know they were shining it over at us. So, they weren't trying to be rude or anything. But it's like, seriously, like, you don't need that. Yeah, if you're, drinking beer on your back porch with your buddies, and you want to spotlight deer, that's a light for you. Backcountry, it's just unnecessary. And if you're going to have it, man, like, I mean, you really don't need it out here. But, yeah, keep it pointed at the ground or just what you're looking at. Don't be flashing it all over the place, messing up people's night vision and stuff like that. So, but I gotta say, like, I'm not complaining at all, because the group that showed up, they've been nothing but courteous. It's only like, it's not even 8 o'clock, and they've been completely quiet. They've been good. Just a couple of, party fouls. It's something that can be overlooked, but as a part of me starting to do these videos on these other backpacking trails, I just kind of want to help out people that are, kind of getting into beginning backpacking to get to learn more about it. And, it's just those little things that, and I don't think that group really kind of knows what's going on, but it's all good. It is what it is. It's not bothering me at this point, but it's something worth mentioning. But anyways, we have about 4 miles to get back to the truck tomorrow. So it should be pretty nice. It's been really enjoyable hiking through here. This has actually been a really great trip, and I can't tell you how nice it's been to get back out in the woods and get some blood flowing through the legs. It's just been super nice. But anyways, I'm gonna get to sleep, and gonna get up early in the morning. We're gonna have a little caffeine, eat some breakfast, and probably gonna take my time getting back to the truck, because as I told you earlier, the brewery's not gonna open till lunchtime anyways. But yeah, I'm excited to get there. That beer's gonna taste really good, and I'm really gonna enjoy it. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Good morning, everybody. Coming to you from my tent. Luckily, I believe my scorched retinas have recovered overnight from the neighbor's flashlight. The reason I'm in my tent is because the forecast was incorrect. We actually got a little bit of rain last night and this morning. It wasn't very much rain, but it's been kind of on and off. Right now, we're just getting a little bit of tree pee coming off of the trees. So I don't know what it's going to do on the hike out of here, so I don't know how much filming I'll be able to do on that hike. We've only got about 4 miles, and I'm looking forward to getting to that beer and a good cold beer and a warm burger down at the brewery. It is kind of unfortunate that I only have 4 miles to get to a change of clothes, beer, and a burger, rather than 4 days to the next town with no change of clothes and Pop-Tarts and ramen to look forward to. So obviously I'm kidding, but anyways, I'm gonna get some caffeine in me, get camp broken down, and make my way towards the truck. So I'll talk to you soon.
Alright folks, I just left camp about 15 minutes ago. It's kind of a climb out of camp, but it's a pretty gradual climb. It's no big deal. Got a little break in the rain at the moment, so I decided I'd go ahead and update you on sort of how I feel about the trail. Almost done with it. Really enjoyed it. It's a good trail. Being only 17.1 miles, it can be enjoyed by a lot of people. It's a great way to spend a weekend. So, you can bring the family out here. It offers up some challenging sections, but overall it's really not a bad hike, but the challenges are what makes this fun. So you can bring the family out, not a family of 12, but yeah, if you keep your groups to 6 or less, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's really enjoyable. So I only have 2 complaints about the trail itself, and that's briars and blazes. Briars, they're everywhere out here, and they're overgrown into the trail in a lot of spots, but whatever, they're not a showstopper or anything. And blazes, certain sections of the trail are very poorly blazed, and it's fall, so in certain areas where there's a lot of leaves on the ground, it's hard to keep the trail in those sections. And generally those are the sections that are poorly blazed or just not blazed at all. And then you get to a section to where it's like, obviously that's the trail and there's blazes every 100 feet. So anyways, both of them are minor complaints. Definitely not showstoppers. So you should really come out here and do this trail. It could be done in one day if you're into, the endurance challenge. Come do the loop, get started early. And, if you're doing it at a time of year to where you got plenty of daylight, it's definitely doable. And it'd be a lot of fun and still a challenge. So anyways, the water sources. Wanted to talk about that. They're abundant. They not a problem at all. At least every couple of miles you come to a pretty reliable water source. So that's not an issue. There is a cut sheet available for this trail. It's pretty outdated. If I can, I'll put a link to it in the description. But the mileages are a little messed up. Give or take a mile on any waypoint on that thing. So keep that in mind. But anyways, I'm gonna get back to the truck and I'll see you there. All right, this is what I mean about the blazing situation. Is a little weak here. You come down to this little area. It's like a little camping area. The trail is right back there. You can see there's a couple of blazes there. That's all good. However, there's just like a little splotch on that tree, but all of this, you just kind of don't really know where to go. There's just a little splotch on that tree, and what you're supposed to do is go down there and cross the creek about where my dad is, where there's another really hard to see splotch of white paint. So you got to be careful. So anyways, if you're hiking this thing in the future, when you get down to this campsite just a couple of miles from Adams Gap, if you're going counterclockwise, yeah, cross the creek right over there at those rocks. Alright folks, a little bit of interesting history on the trail. The Chinnabee Silent Trail, it got its name, well, one of the terminuses of the trail is actually Lake Chinnabee. That's how it got Chinnabee in its name. But it got Silent Trail from the fact that in 1977, it was actually completed by Boy Scout Troop number 29 from the Alabama School of the Deaf and Blind. Actually, it was the Alabama Institute of the Deaf and Blind. So that's really interesting that it was actually completed by, you know, a group of deaf Boy Scouts. So that's really cool. And also that chimney that you're seeing there to the left, that was actually a part of a CCC, or Civilian Conservation Corps camp at one point, you know, back when they were building things through the area. And, you know, it still remains even though the camp ended up burning down. Alright, we made it to the trailhead where the Pinhoti Trail intersects with the Skyway Trail, which is where we came from, right down that way. And then the Pinhoti's this way. So you're going to come up from that trail, heading in this direction. You're going to see that board on your left. You're just going to keep going straight, and you'll end up back at Adams Gap. Alright, looks like we made it back to the trailhead. So that is a successful loop, and right over there, that stop sign's where we went in the woods. And luckily the truck's still there, so gonna get over there. And of course we left ourselves at least a little something to enjoy when we got back to it. Alright, I found it appropriate to have a Cahaba Brewing beer after this hike. I've been wearing their hat hiking for 9 months now, so found it appropriate. This is going to be tasty. Rolling into the Chinnabee Brewing Company. This is going to be good. Hey everybody, so we just left the brewery an hour or two ago, and it was awesome as usual. You should definitely check it out if you've never been there, if you're in the Anniston or Oxford area. It's called Chinnabee Brewing Company. They have really good beer and really good food, so totally worth checking it out. We actually discovered that area, believe it or not. I didn't even know there was mountains in Alabama until my dad and I were actually doing a little research to find some good places to do some mountain biking in the southeast. That's not northern Georgia. We wanted to check something different out, and Coldwater Mountain popped up, which is something you should check out as well if you're into mountain biking. It's just really cool mountain biking trails, and I plan to go back there soon, and you know, I'll definitely share my experience while I'm there. But anyways, had an awesome weekend. It was a really cool trail. I encourage everybody, if you can, go check it out. It was actually a little bit refreshing to get on some trails that weren't designed just to be hard for the sake of being hard. They were really well designed trails. They're not used very much, so that's why there's, you know, a little bit of overgrowth with the briars and stuff like that. But like I said, none of that's a showstopper. It's still a great time, great experience. So anyways, I've already got a handful of trips planned for the near future, so I'll bring you along for that. And you know, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll try to get back to you. If I don't know the answer to them, I'll try to find the answer. But anyways, had a great weekend. You should get out and do something like that yourself. So I'll see you next time.